Hello, everyone. So, welcome back to our Change Management in 20 Minutes podcast. And today, together with my co host Joren, we are discussing one of the most important topics in change management that is called sponsorship support and importance of sponsorship during change. But before that, actually, I'm so happy to see you, Joren. So, it has been 2 months since we spoke last time.
Yeah.
We had a lot of travels. So, how did you spend these 2 months? With the,
I mean, as you said, we had a lot of travels, some business travels, also some health issues. But I am very happy to have you in front of me for this episode. And the next time, it won't be so long. I promise it will be in 2 weeks. Definitely.
yeah, because I think our listeners are just curious. Okay, where have these legends been? So here we are. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we are ready to start the new episode. So welcome everyone. And so I would like to start with the first question actually.
Okay.
Jaren, you are very well aware of the ProSci methodology. I know that you practice that at work a lot, and you also know that research shows that sponsorship has been a top contributor to successful change since like 1998 or something, according to ProSci investigation. But still, like in my practice, I often see that sometimes sponsors still struggle with their role. So, Jaren, what is your opinion? Why is sponsorship so crucial to change management success?
Yeah, whenever a change manager hears it, I know that they are feeling a deep pain inside because we need sponsors more than anything. It's just not about authority. And that's also a great point, Yulia. We need to talk about sponsors a lot and all the time, especially when we are starting the change. We need to involve them as the top contributor of change because it's not only the authority resource, it's also important for the people in the organization to hear the vision and where we are going as an organization from the sponsor who is supporting us as change managers. But also, people just think that it's only about decision making. It's not all about decision making at all. They need to be actively involved in the activities, meaning being visible, removing obstacles in front of the change managers and all the organization, ensuring people understand why we are changing, the importance of change. So, without having a strong sponsorship in change management, usually the initiatives fail. So we need them, and we need them as like not only a highly responsible or respected executive, but also that someone who is communicating the change, who is in front of everyone, who is the face of change, I can say, and encouraging the organization and people in the organization to change and to see the vision. So I can say like that. Do you have any opinion, any other thing that to say about this?
Yeah, vision is actually everything. But I actually have a real life example from my one of my ongoing projects of change management. We have such a fantastic sponsor, and that is a sponsor of big scale transformation in one of the education organizations here in Kazakhstan. So we started with project management system implementation, and currently we are also supporting the HR transformation processes project. And I'm so excited to see how much support the team and the project team and the change management team is getting on that way. It's like missionary. He is also always involved. He leads by example. He shows using of all the tools himself, and also he never misses any kind of important meetings. And I would really draw this exact sponsor as an example of a sponsorship behavior, like the role model behavior for any change. So actually, I'm completely on one page with you that this setting the vision, um, leading by example, and actually putting more emphasis on communication and human part is very important for the sponsor. Yeah, so completely on my page, on one page with you.
I mean, you are just talking about a dream sponsor or something. That's what I felt. So, I mean, we need to have his statue somewhere in this building or like in the company somewhere, so that people will see him every day. So we don't have such people, and that leads me to my next question. So when we have such examples, such great examples in one side, so you are telling me that it can be done. So why are some common reasons why sponsors fail to fulfill their role during the change? What and how we can help them as change leaders, change managers, when they are trying to overcome those challenges?
Oh, yeah, Jiren, that's a very important question, actually. And of course, one excellent sponsor does not show the picture of this struggle that we as change management team have, right, during this trip. So, yeah, I think one of the common reasons why sponsors sometimes fail to support the project is that they sometimes underestimate the people side of change, because any change has like two sides, technical and people related. So usually sponsors focus exactly on the technical part, like for example, how to finish the project of change technically on the date and within the budget. So this means they also focus on the financial part. But still, I don't know, maybe it's just by default set that all our employees just have to follow the new procedures and that's it, and nothing really matters. At the same time, I do really sympathize with sponsors' struggles because I do understand they are always overloaded, always on a business trip, and they have so many priorities put on them. Like they have many business-related things to manage. That's understandable. And of course, we need, as change managers, we need to support them to provide all the support that we have, or we can at least, right? I don't know, for each situation, it can be different kind of support, but of course, first of all, we need to be there for the sponsors. We need to maybe explain them the importance of their role and some specific aspects of their role in this specific change management effort. Actually, I have this, yeah, um, I have a lot of actually examples how sponsors fail to support the projects. For example, one time, one of the sponsors from our change management project just disappeared because he was always on business trips and we were never able to reach him. So finally, the project completely failed. Yeah, I have to admit it was a failure because of the sponsors. Uh, yeah, because of the sponsors fail. So do you have any examples from your life or like real life experience of these, kind of pitfalls,
Yeah,
examples?
definitely, definitely. I have seen many sponsors. It doesn't have to be a huge project, by the way. Even if it's something small, people want to have that leader in front of them, communicating them where the company is going or where the team is going and what will be the next step and why we are changing. So usually the sponsors are very visible because they are
Mhm.
talking here and there everywhere in the organization in different concepts in different meetings. It's very hard to make sure that they are talking about change. So I was always trying to get into their scripts for different trainings or meetings, or when they are talking to the employees during some webinars or town halls, let's say, trying to give some scripts, some short messages for them to be able to communicate during those times. But unfortunately, I have one sponsor who refused to do anything
Oh.
while we are going through a very massive transformation. And unfortunately, people wanted to see him. So this made us fail when we were getting the help of the middle management, because the middle management
Oh.
is checking also the top management. So they were just not willing to do any change initiatives. So it took us a long time for us to overcome that obstacle. After all, it was also another failure, I can say.
Yeah, well, sometimes in project management we say there is no such word as mistake or failure. There is a word which is actually a lesson learned, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So So Jiren, you actually mentioned that the sponsors of change efforts should be really visible. And I think this is where we can really think of the concept that is introduced by the ProSci, which is like the ABC role of the sponsorship. So ABC stands for the first letters of first, active and visible support or presence. Second, building a coalition of support. And C is like communicating directly to impacted groups. So let's talk about this, these letters of the ABC role. For example, if we take this A, active and visible participations. So how do you think, Julian, how can we practically ensure that sponsors really stay visible and like actively engaged throughout the entire project of change?
I mean, that's a very nice question. By the way, I like ABC abbreviation a lot. So ProSci did a
Me
great
too.
job there, formulating how we are going to show what a sponsor should have as a role in the organization during a change. So it's very easy for us to explain them what we are asking from them. We usually say we want you to be actively visible, build coalition, and communicate. So being active visible means it, as you said, they are very busy people. So they have their scheduled meetings, they're always booked. You are not even able to talk to them in their offices. Usually you are just emailing them, but their assistants in Turkey, for example, for big companies, assistants are going through the emails, they are checking the communication, they are making those meetings, they are making everyone get together. So assistants are like our the bridge of change managers and the sponsors, I can say. But
That's
what I
true.
can say is to have a plan. Like you need to have a plan. You need to have a communication plan. You need to have a meeting plan, regular touch points, and you need to shake hands with sponsor and give that plan to him beforehand. Everything starts. So he implements everything in his schedule. So you won't have to miss any dates. Of course, there can be some sudden changes in top management's timeline, and it happens, but it's not a big deal. If you have regular touch points that they are communicating with the organization, that they are communicating with their peers, with their subordinates, then you will be in the good side. So they need to involve directly in the project, in the change management, so that they're able to convey the messages, convey the vision, convey the strategy. If they are not visible, you cannot put them real life in a meeting, you need to have a video recording maybe to show prior to this meeting.
Oh, wow.
For
This is
everyone
a
to
nice
see them.
idea.
Yeah, I mean, it works. It works. Yes, it doesn't. It's not the exact replacement for having a face-to-face meeting, I must admit. But unfortunately, if you, I mean, in the end of the day, if you don't have that person, you can have the video of that person to show before the meeting starts, and that also energizes people, I can say.
Wow, that's an interesting insight. I just thought that we really can make the best use of technologies when we try to support our sponsors. Thanks for this life hack. Probably I will borrow that for my practice.
Definitely, it will be a nice hack. But I know that you have better hacks. And I would like to ask you, since you are very experienced in this field, so I would like to ask you how you are able to make sure that a sponsor is building a coalition for supporting change. So the B abbreviation of this ABC of a sponsorship. And it's a very critical aspect of a sponsor, by the way. So how they are doing it
Okay.
effectively.
Yes, so you are referring to the B in ABC. Yeah, that's a very interesting discussion here because, well, first of all, the majority of the companies I worked for had kind of very strict hierarchical organizational structure, so that the sponsor, usually someone from top management or like the board of directors, but usually it's like a CEO of the company, and usually this guy or girl, everything might happen, right? They usually have these people who kind of report to them. And this is exactly the first coalition that a sponsor might think of building for the change management project. And we, as change managers, we can really help them out with this exercise, because we can, for instance, help to identify the most critical stakeholders for this coalition and overall the change effort. And this is from where we can start. So when a sponsor builds this coalition, they really might kind of direct the entire team of this coalition, right, to one direction, to kind of a North Star. And a sponsor is responsible for making everyone, look in the same direction, to where we are actually heading in this transformation. Also, I think this coalition will be actually the first people who will see the resistance from their reportees, and then from another level of reportees, right, to the supervisors. So I think the message should be just broadcasted like kind of down on the coalition, and then the coalition of managers should get all the tools to support their employees, and this is how it all just disseminates. Also, this coalition can play a really good role, I would say, of ambassadors. And this is where we can see everything just cascading down the organization. So yeah, this is how sponsors can build trust, unite everyone around this North Star of transformation. And of course, regular communication also matters across the coalition, and then maybe to all the directions. And we as change managers, we are just here. We can support sponsors with everything. So yeah, do you usually do the same? Do you provide the entire set of support to the sponsor when it comes to coalition?
I mean, usually they have their regular meetings or some Stirco events. And what we are trying to do is like just take some minutes during those events, those big, like vice president or like assistant principals or whatever, these big events that they are having with their peers or subordinates. We try to go there, those Stircos, and like give some scripts, explain the things, help him to build coalition. And sometimes, like, even if a sponsor, if it's a top management person, it's a human being, and they need to be understand. They need to be heard. They want to get some support. So sometimes even you can do some coaching or mentoring. You just don't have to be like a high level person to mentor a high level executive on change management. We know our topic best in the company, so we can coach anyone, mentor anyone on our topic, I can say. So what we are doing is basically mentoring or coaching them to make sure that they are good at what they are doing in the company.
Yeah, exactly. You are actually touching upon a very important thing, that not each sponsor knows what to do with the change, how to behave. So exactly, I think this change managers coaching and support can really help. Actually, it just came into my mind. You told that I have some life hacks, and I do. It just came actually into my mind. I think that sometimes sponsors of the change, who are usually top management, they are sometimes get so, I would say, far from employees, that the possibility of getting this feedback from employees becomes much less than, for example, when they used to be like not a top manager, but a head of the department or a supervisor. So I think from one side, acting as a sponsor for a change might, get a person closer to the company that they lead. And from the other side, I think this is also good branding, when you are always visible during the change, when you have your coalition that promotes you as a change maker. So I think it's also good, good kind of marketing for any top manager.
That's correct. I mean, it's building their own people in the company, so it's something good for them, and they need to do them, like, even not for an only change. They need to be always active and visible and touching the employees and managers in the company. So this is what we are expecting from them to do, and we can coach them because they may not know how to do it, but we can help them to do that.
Yeah, and using this occasion, I would like to highlight that Jiren is actually a certified coach. So if you have any need for that, please contact
Yeah.
Jiren to her to her emails.
Yeah,
So yeah.
always.
So yeah, exactly. It was a very nice conversation, and I think we are heading to its end. Thank you, Jiren, for discussing this important role of sponsors in our job. I think this is something that will always have a crucial importance in any change project, right?
Definitely. For any
Yeah.
project.
So here where we are wrapping up, and actually before this episode, we were thinking together with Jaren what will be the next topic, and we decided that it's going to be the how did I say it? Like the combination of project management and change management jobs. Like how do they really communicate during any change management effort? And that's an important part actually, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for this amazing discussion, Jaren. Thank you for sharing with our listeners all the insights you know, and thank you myself as well for
Of course.
this. And thank you everyone who joined and listened to this episode of podcast. So stay tuned and see you soon on the next
Yeah.
episode.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye-bye.
So yeah.